There have been many retirement announcements in the past few weeks. Whether we like it or not, our favorite athletes can't remain at the top of their game forever, especially in such a physically challenging sport as professional cycling. In this video, we'll bid farewell to the legendary professional cyclist Richie Porte and look at the legacy he's leaving behind. Let's dive right in, starting off with Richie's retirement announcement. On September 13th, this Australian professional cyclist left a shocking update on his personal Instagram. Richie Porte finally announced he'll be going on his final ride as a professional cyclist soon. This announcement came just days after this year's Tour of Britain wrapped up, making that his final cycling tournament. Along with the announcement, Richie posted a black and white shot of him in his cycling gear taken at the Tour of Britain. He stated that at this point, even he didn't know that this would be the last moment of him signed up as a professional cyclist. So it seems that the decision to end his career was rather sudden. The 37-year-old expressed his wonder and gratitude about being a part of this intense sport. He recalled his days as a young boy growing up in Tasmania and claimed that he could have never believed that he'd live the life of a professional cyclist. He also explained how many doors this sport opened to him, and he got to travel around the world through it. What made his announcement even more emotional was the quote from Forrest Gump that he added in the end. The quote was, "I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now." It's sometimes as simple as that. If that doesn't make you tear up, we don't know what will. Richie's post got over 22,000 likes and was flooded with good wishes from other professional cyclists and fans. Let's take a look at the legacy he's leaving behind. Richie Porte began his career as a professional cyclist at the age of 24. So in his 13-year career, he gathered plenty of awards and accolades that have earned him the status of a legend in the cycling world. When Porte first began his career as a 24-year-old, he signed up with Saxo Bank for a 2-year contract. He had his first Grand Tour debut at the Giro d'Italia, where he finished 7th overall and won the young rider classification. From there, he had a series of major wins. Porte won 2 editions of the Paris-Nice Marathon, once in 2013 and 2015. He also won 2 editions of the Tour Down Under, where he's basically known as the King of Wollonga Hill after winning the home race 6 times there. Along with that, he's had a lot of achievements in the stage race series. He won the Tour de Romandie in 2017, Tour de Suisse in 2018, and the Critérium du Dauphiné in 2021. He also grabbed 3rd place in Tour de France in 2020. Throughout his career, he's signed for many different teams such as Saxo Bank, Sky, BMC, and Trek Segafredo. For the last leg of their career, he had signed up with Team Ineos Grenadiers. But with all these highs, he also had experienced some major lows. His most notable lows were his crashes at Tour de France in 2017 and 2018. The 2017 crash was so severe that he fractured his pelvis and clavicle and had to be rushed to the hospital on a stretcher. Moving on to what the future holds for this Tasmanian devil. Ending the professional cycling chapter of his life, what does he have in mind for his retirement plan? Well, the 37-year-old doesn't have any definite career plans laid out yet. For now, the only thing that's certain is that he'll be moving back to Australia with his wife Gemma Porte and his 2 kids. They had been waiting for him back in Aberdeen during the Tour of Britain. When that is finally wrapped up, he will permanently shift back home. During his contract with Ineos Grenadiers, he was living in Monaco along with the rest of his team members. In a farewell video, Porte also explained that his 5-year-old son was about to start school soon, so he wanted to be there for all those milestones. He also explained the constant threat this job had put him under and how he was glad to be leaving that behind. Apart from being a full-time dedicated father and husband, has the Australian cycling legend had anything in store for us? Well, for now, it's too soon to say. He might be leaving the world of cycling entirely, or he might be staying in it in some capacity. Maybe we'll get to see him as a coach, or he might build his social media presence. All we know is that the future is wide open for this Tasmanian devil. Following up with the reactions to these heartbreaking news. With Richie's retirement announcement, there came a lot of different reactions from the fans. On his Instagram post, 3-time Tour de France winner Robbie McEwen commented, reminding him of all the rides they shared together. Other cyclists like Wout Poels, Salvatore Puccio, and Mark Renshaw also congratulated him for all his achievements and wished him well. His fans, on the other hand, didn't want to see him go. Some believed that his retirement came a bit too early. Some fans even thought that there might be something else that brought on this sudden decision, something health-related. Well, that might not be entirely false, as the Australian cyclist has been known to suffer from illnesses in the past, most notably pneumonia. On his last ride video with Team Ineos Grenadiers, some people commented about his injuries. Many believe that those injuries he suffered at Tour de France stopped him from reaching the podium. Porte himself mentioned that the crash left him with a lot of trauma and fear that he just couldn't overcome. Well, no matter what path he chooses now, we sure hope it's a safe and healthy one. Now, in other news, let's talk about another cyclist leaving Team Ineos Grenadiers. Turns out Richie Porte isn't the only cyclist who will be leaving Team Ineos Grenadiers this week. Adam Yates will finish his current season off and then is set to join the UAE team Emirates from 2023. The British climber rider finished 9th at this year's Tour de France and was a valuable part of the team, but he decided that joining the UAE Team Emirates would prove to be really good for his career. He thinks he's at the top of his game right now and needs to make drastic decisions. The growth that his team has experienced over the years is what really drew him to it. Yates thinks that he can contribute to the peak of his performance with this team. UAE Team Emirates CEO Mauro Gianetti stated that it was Yates' consistent efforts that highlighted him, which he thinks is common amongst all British riders. We wonder how Team Ineos Grenadiers is coping with these two huge players exiting their pool and who they'll recruit next. Moving on to Van Vleuten's freak accident. This week, the internet is flooded with gifs of the Dutch cyclist Van Vleuten's strange crash. The crash took place in Wollongong, Australia, during the time trial relay at the Road World Championships. The whole thing happened so fast that it's hard to explain what exactly happened. The race had just begun, and Vleuten somehow lost control of her bike. Her cycle swerved twice, making the Dutch rider fall on her elbow. She received treatment on site and was later taken to the hospital, where it was discovered that she had broken her elbow. Later, it was determined that she'd be able to race again the next. Even after multiple replays, it's hard to understand why the crash happened. She wasn't exactly riding in a packed site, so she didn't run into anything. Many commentators believe that one of her tires had burst, but that wasn't true when her cycle was examined. The whole thing is just bizarre, and it looks as if her cycle got possessed or something. Well, whatever the cause was, we're glad Vleuten is back on her feet again. Wrapping with Van Vleuten's record-breaking performance. Yes, we're talking about the same Van Vleuten. Just 3 days after her crash that broke her elbow, Vleuten ended up winning the race. This was her second world road race title. In the last 600 meters, Vleuten gave it her all and left the other 8 competitors in the dust. After completing and winning the 164-kilometer race, the 39-year-old was in disbelief. She's also about to retire at the end of the next season, so this win meant a lot to her, and she called it her best victory. She claimed that she wasn't expecting to win at all and thought it was all a joke or a prank. What a humble queen. Even with that broken elbow, she managed to push through and win the title for her team. We wish Vleuten all the best after her retirement as well. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Richie Porte's sudden retirement announcement? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.